Welcome, everyone. Love you all. Great seeing you or reading about you on the call. And I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. We've got a special guest today. Our special guest today is from Houston, Texas. This gentleman began his career in real estate, so big stuff. He was doing some big real estate stuff. He is a Desert Storm veteran. So thank you for your service, sir. I thank you very much for that. Been on the side of the B quadrant for 25 years, and he's going to explain to you what the B quadrant is, because that's where you need to be. So he knows what that means most definitely, and that's where you want to be. And he is about to show you how that's done. A multi-million-dollar earner, massive, right? Has a massive team with massive success and growing. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Sam Bean. Mr. Bean, are you on the call, sir?
I am. How you doing, Angela?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Feeding off your energy, feeding off your excitement, and I'm excited.
Great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I get to see you here, because of this quarantine stuff, but I hope you and your family are well. But welcome to the call. Thank you so much. It's all you.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to be here with you guys today. And Angela spoke very highly of me, and I appreciate that. And, I'm excited. And I'm a little nervous at the same time, but it's not the type of nervous that you may, think about or that you may be familiar with. This nervous has something to do about being at the right place, in the right time. When you look at the opportunity that we're going to share with you guys today, it's something that a lot of thought, a lot of care, and a lot of generosity was poured into. And you look at the vision, oh my God, it's amazing. And when we map this thing out for you, you'll see why I'm so excited, because we get a chance to go out there and really take advantage of what we call first movers advantage. Okay. The CEO of the company and other principals, Mrs. Erlene Buggs as well, they did some huge investments in this company, a debt-free company. And I remember when they first started talking about, having a rideshare, opportunity or doing something with the rideshare impact. Okay. And I remember how, this company popped up on the scene and went to $50 billion almost overnight. And that's the thing that the owner of the company was saying, man, we need to, do something like that. We need to put people in a position where, they can actually go out there and really, make money, on their own terms and be their own bosses. And he really just, thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And here it is, 5, 6, 7 years later, Vibe Rides, the company that you're going to hear about is giving birth. And so definitely want to also, give my appreciations to one of the top executives in the company, Edwin and Andrea Haynes as well. And then you have the EVP, Scott Bachland, and you just heard from the amazing director, Mrs. Angela Oliveto. These guys have been working nonstop, and they've been putting together this company, again, as they say, as we've been building it and as we've been opening up the company, they've been growing every day, and the company's been evolving. And so for me, let me pull up some of these slides here real quick for you guys, because I want to make sure you see exactly, why people are so excited. Okay? And so when you look at Vibe and you look at that beautiful picture, that beautiful car, that logo, real sleek. And a lot of people now around the world, because of social media, is getting a chance to see that and familiarize themselves with it. And this company really, really quickly is becoming a household name already based on who the company is associated with. You think about people like Warren Buffett, or Bill Gates, or Oprah Winfrey. You think about some of the richest and wealthiest people in the world. The companies that they associate themselves with don't have to be open long. They just have to be open. And that company automatically has international recognition. And so when you look at, the principles of this company, he's a person who is known all around the world globally. So right now, people all around the world are hoping, wishing, and praying that we can bring this specific company to their countries one day. And for those of you who are in the USA right now, you have the opportunity, right, to actually take full advantage of it. But the cool part about it is this: because of the internet, you have people all around the world who are taking advantage of it as well, even though they're not in the U.S. So again, when you look at Vibe, this is a really, really big deal. Okay. So when you talk about money, you talk about companies, you want to talk about, the disclaimer. You want to give people the understanding that this is not a get rich quick scheme. I'm not promising you that you'll earn a dime, because I don't know what you're going to do, quite frankly, to go out there and earn it. Okay? One thing I can say is that the people who are taking advantage of this opportunity, they'll find really quickly that there's no cap on how much money that they can actually earn. Okay? If they're willing to do the work, willing to go out there and get the results, you can write your own check. Okay. Now, when you look at how things have evolved and the world, right before our very eyes has changed. When you look at, they say the average person, during their lifetime of working 40, 50 years, will probably had about, 8 to 9 jobs, on average. Okay. They make 5 career changes a year because, again, things evolve. And when you look at technology, is the reason why a lot of people are changing careers, because the better and better technology gets, the more these companies are evolving, and the less people and manpower that they need, because of, again, technology is doing that. Okay, and it's a smart way to do business for business owners, but it's not a really good impact for a person who was an employee. Okay, when you look at, again, people are now undervalued, people are now overworked, people are underpaid, and people are aged out by people who are coming out of college. Like, you can literally walk into an office, entry-level position, right, and replace somebody who's been there for 25, 35 years, because you're probably going to earn a third to a half of what they're already earning. Okay? And so by getting rid of a person who's been there and tenured, they can probably hire 2 to 3 new people. So again, you want to make sure, or they can take that income that they were paying that person, use it on technology, and then source that position out. And again, you have to be thinking, ladies and gentlemen, about being a business owner, and you have to start thinking the way people are thinking today. Things are evolving, and people are not doing business and looking at opportunities the same way that our parents and our great grandparents did. Okay, when you look at what's happening right now, that's creating this huge explosion. Again, it goes back to technology. It goes back to the internet. It goes back to the gig economy, right? Where people are doing everything from their phone, right? Everything from their phone. So now the phone is the new computer, right? You lose your phone, you lose your life, right? And I tell people this all the time. That's just how much things are evolved. You no longer have to go home to use a computer anymore, but you no longer also have to leave your house to run a business, thanks to the gig economy. When you look at, all these companies that have popped up seemingly overnight, that have become billion-dollar corporations, you can start with companies like Amazon, Airbnb, Uber, Alibaba, No Wait, Spotify. All these companies are companies that literally really have used the technology to go out there and get visibility from millions and millions of people around the world, and introduce their products and services to these people, and people have now an opportunity to buy without having a middleman involved. Okay, so it's just a smart way to do business. And so when you have app-based companies, you have the opportunity to streamline your business and do really, really big things. Okay, and so I say, why do most people never get ahead of the money curve? And for me, I do believe, in my personal opinion, when you don't get ahead of the money curve, is because you're still thinking the same way that you did years ago, and you got to evolve. And so when you look at Robert Kiyosaki, he created the cash flow quadrant. This is the author of many, many books. One of the most famous and most popular is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One that I've become pretty familiar with, and I really do appreciate, is How to Increase Your Financial IQ. Okay, because we have some academic geniuses out there who are financial dummies, and I can just tell you, I was one of them. In 2008, because of my, let's just say, inexperience and ignorance, I lost 3 companies. Okay, I lost 3 companies: a real estate company, a foreclosure prevention company, and a mortgage company. Okay, and so again, I had to increase my financial IQ. But if you don't have access to someone who can educate you on that, that's the challenge. That's the problem. Okay. And so that book helped me out very, very much so. And I suggest you go get it as well. But, in his 4 quadrants. He talks about the E being the employee quadrant, where basically you own nothing. You have an opportunity to earn a wage, a salary, work with somebody who actually has a dream. Okay. And when you look at the S, self-employed, your customers control you. You move from working for a boss to now working for each and every last one of your clients. Like Angela said, I was in real estate for years. When I got out of the military in 96, from 96 to 2008, okay, I was self-employed. I was in real estate. I had a license. I had an office that I ran, but all of my clients basically were my bosses because, you know, when you actually are an attorney, when you're a doctor, or when you are somebody who has to do the work to get the pay, when you're not working, you're not getting paid. So your customers really don't care about your lunchtime. They really don't care about your family time. They really don't care about, you know, the things that you want to do on your own time, because at that point in time, you're on their time. So they own you. No commissions, right? No, I mean, no work, no commission. So again, you want more control, right? You want ownership instead of ownership, okay? That's business owners. Okay, when you look at the business owners, these people have systems. These people have, you know, companies that have employees and specific people in specific positions that run that operation without their involvement. Okay? And so you definitely want to get here at some point in time. So what you'll find is that you'll have people who will go from the employee section, then they'll go into the self-employed section, like I did when I went to real estate, and then I went into the business section, you know, and that business section was when, you know, I owned 3 companies, and I took what I used as a self-employed person and created a system around it, an office around it, opportunity around it, and had 3 companies, right? And then you have the investor, okay? This is when you make your money work for you. Like my good friend Emmanuel Bernstein says, you take your money, put coveralls on it, send it out to go to work, and it comes back with friends, okay? And so it's huge. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that now you have a conscious interrupt. You take control of your life by basically going out there and diverting your time. You know, all the extra time that you have when you're not at work, all the extra time that you have, you know, when you're not serving, you know, your customers, and you want to turn it into passive income. Okay, you want to evolve. And you want to go out there and put yourself in a position where now you can own your time, and you can put yourself in a position where you never have to worry about money again as long as you live. And remember, that only happens when you are in total control. You cannot control the uncontrollable. So regardless of what a person's promised you, you know, in a company, when you don't own the company, the promise is not concrete. Okay? And again, anything can change with new ownership. So again, you want to go out there and make sure that you're on the right side of the money. And speaking of that, if you've had a job for at least 10 years, okay, for at least 10 years, it doesn't have to be for the same company. Just 10 years of working for somebody or some company, you've already done enough work to actually make millions of dollars. Okay? You just on the wrong side of the money. Okay? So getting yourself to the B quadrant, you know, do what you already are doing, right? No boss, no degree, no experience, others work for you, right? And that's how that works. When you look at, you know, the way that we're, you know, explaining, the way that we're, let's just say presenting this to you today, when you look at the drive share industry, this is an industry that's booming. As you can see, these numbers, you know, they jump off the page. You know, I tell people all the time, men and women lie, but numbers don't, okay? 98 million people, you know, who were raised to not jump in cars with strangers are now passengers for rideshare drivers. And 5.3 million people who were told, don't pick up hitchhikers, right? They're picking up strangers every day. Ladies and gentlemen, you have companies that have come before us, and I really do appreciate everything that they've done, because they've laid the groundwork for us to just come on in and do everything that they've done, right, in a fraction of the time. Okay, like I said, you have companies out there that are $50 billion corporations, and it took them 7-8 years to do that. Our goal is to be a $50 billion corporation, ladies and gentlemen, in less time, because what we're doing is we're empowering people to go out there and do big things. And so the more people have to gain in your opportunity, the faster your company grows and the more exposure it gets. So when you look at, you know, what this thing really is, mobility solutions at its best. Vibe is moving forward, you know, and we're not just moving people, right? We're not just picking up you and your loved ones. What we're also doing is we're acting as a courier service and delivery service. We're acting as a company that can move food, a company that can move medical supplies, companies. Again, we want to make sure that when you see, especially the companies that have come before us, a lot of the things you've seen them do, guess what? We're going to be doing the same exact thing, right? And so we're not a one-trick pony. It's a beautiful thing that you have opportunities to be involved with. But when you look at the next generation drive share and why we're different, we actually tell you have three ways to vibe, right? When you have the ride program, right? You have the drive program, you have the overdrive program. See, when you ride, it's simple. You call you hail the car and they come pick you up, right? And you go from point A to point B, right? This is where you now put yourself in a position where, well, when you download that app, on Google Play or Apple Play, you download your app, you customize your actual ride, put all the things that you want catered to you specifically in that, right? And that's a pretty cool thing. And it's cool for the drivers as well, because smart drivers will make sure that while they're on the way, they're taking all of your preferences, right? What temperature you want to have the car at. They're already setting their channel to, what do you want, rock and roll, or what do you want, rap, R&B, what do you want, shock jocks, sports talk, whatever you want. They're setting that for you. And it's cool because a lot of times I've gotten in cars and people have on political conversations, or they have on rock and roll, or they have on something, period. I may not want to listen to anything at all. Well, again, this puts you in a position of comfort, and it puts your driver in a position, of comfort as well. And it puts them in a position of being tipped, because when that car is set up properly and they're the perfect person for you on that ride, now you've got your vibe, right? So additional safety things. So one of those features on there is girl power. And I really do appreciate that, because I have a wife, I have sisters, I have family members who are cousins who are female, and I always want to see them protected. And that's one of the biggest things that you hear, about rideshare companies right now. How safe are them? Are they? What are the background checks and things like that? And so with this one, a woman who clicks on girl power can say, you know what? I only want to be picked up and driven by a woman. And a woman driver, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? They can do the same thing. They can pretty much say, I only want to, pick up women passengers, because, just say, football season is in, right? And, you get a call, it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock on a Monday night from a bar, and the Dallas Cowboys just lost, right? And you got some Dallas Cowboy fans that are out there, and they're not, not feeling too hot about that loss. But you don't want those guys in your car, right? So you just choose to pick up women only, right? And so you also have safety alert features that we've added on there, route tracking. So people who love you can actually track your route to make sure that you get from point A to point B. And also confidentiality is great. First name basis. They don't need your last name. We don't give it to you, and we don't give it to the drivers. And drivers don't, we don't give you the driver's first or last name as well. So we want to make sure we're protecting people on both sides of the table. Okay. So when you look at the Vibe rewards, just as a rider, again, because of our affiliations and the marketing companies that we're tied to, we're able to, put you in a position where now you can actually get awards, different trips and things like that based on how many rides you take. Okay? And I even know that our drivers, when we first got started in April, the company, because of its affiliations, were giving out vacations every week to the people who had who had outperformed everybody else in the field driving wise. And I think that's huge, because when you have a company that's brand new, you open the gate, and out the gate, you win a vacation, this week, and then your buddy win a vacation next week, and somebody else wins a vacation next week. That's exciting. It gives people something to look for. It gives people incentive outside of income to be out there in the field and working, right? And so again, that's huge. So like I said, travel exclusives that are set just for our drivers and our riders. Okay? So when you look at what we call our D3, this is huge, ladies and gentlemen. This is a game changer. This is where you put the industry on notice, because everybody has the ability to drive, and that's great. And when you drive, You have companies out there, rideshare companies out there that they pay pretty decent. Okay, they do, and some of them have benefits, and guess what? That's cool too. But the thing about it is this: when you're driving, when you don't drive, you don't get paid. Remember, we talked about that a moment ago. We talked about self-employed, right? Independent contracting. We talked about that, right? So this is where you now start to open up your mind. You start to think, you start to get in the mindset of people who are making millions and billions of dollars, right? So you're now thinking outside of the box of driving. And so our D3 method, again, will now allow you also, to be a person who recruits your riders. See, riders are you can't have a company without riders, right? And the cool part about, the riders is this: when you recruit riders, right? Even if you're the driver, when you recruit riders, what happens is now every time they get in a car that's a part of our ride fleet and through our system, through our app, you get paid on that ride every time that person rides for the rest of their life, right? And so that's a huge deal. So now you can build a book of business rideshare customers that you own for the rest of your life, okay? This is not one of those situations where you get a bird dog fee for bringing on a passenger, or you get a percentage off your next trip. You get a percentage off your next trip for bringing on a rider, a passenger. Ladies and gentlemen, you get paid on that passenger's trips for the rest of their life. I had to reiterate that. Okay. Then you have the third one. This is the one that I'm excited about, because when you look at being able to build a fleet, ladies and gentlemen, this is huge, because this is the ultimate game changer.
I'm not sure I understand.
I guess Siri didn't understand. So this is the ultimate game changer here. So when you look at these other companies out there where you've been driving for those companies forever, now you get a chance to become those companies without having the liability, become those companies without having the financial responsibility, become those companies without actually having to run the company and own the company rather. See, I have people in my organization, ladies and gentlemen, that, without owning this company, right, without owning rides, they have, 200 customers. Matter of fact, people like Nick Borges. Nick Borges has 400 drivers already, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Borges has 400 drivers. You have Amy and Joe Rogan. They have 300 drivers. 300 drivers. Got a guy by the name of Rick Carina over in Australia. Rick Carina has 450 drivers. And then they got a guy over in the DC area, Maryland area, Manuel Davis. Manuel Davis has a little bit, over 200 drivers. So these people are building fleets of drivers, books of businesses that they will own. And every time that driver takes a trip, ladies and gentlemen, they will get a piece of that trip, that commission for the rest of their life. That's huge. I know of people who own courier services and limousine services and driving services where they have to piece their fleet together, car by car. And I know people, it's been their whole entire life. They spent the whole entire life building a drive service, where they only have 3 to 5 cars. Okay. And it took them the whole life to get 3 to 5 cars. Well, now, when you look at rideshare, what's the special thing about rideshare? You actually empower people to drive, without actually having to buy the car that they drive. They're driving their own cars. And this is the other thing I want you guys to get as well. When you look at what's going on, the pandemic has put people in a position where they lost their jobs. Now, and I say that because I want to bring up a point. They lost their jobs because companies closed their doors. And when you look at the companies that close their doors, we understand that 30% of those companies will never reopen their doors. And so every one of those employees who may not have a job when this thing is over with, they will still have a car. Okay? They will still need to generate some income. And when you offer them our rideshare program where they can drive and they can recruit other drivers while they're doing that, what happens is some of those people end up in a better place than they were when they actually had a job. They'll go from having a false sense of security, okay, with something that they could not control, to having total control and having to be able to create their own security. So again, when you drive, ladies and gentlemen, you make money. Okay, when you drive, you are self-employed, right? When you drive, you earn 70% out the gate, up to 75% per trip when you go over 50 rides in a month, right? And as you can see, That excludes the Vibe rides, ride fee, and any other taxes, tolls, and things that you're responsible for. Okay. Now, when you look at this example here, a person will like to, let's say a person who may want to earn extra $5,000 a month or $5,000 a month period for driving. In this example, okay, when we looked at our business model, when we hit the calculator, we did the numbers, at $250 a day, 20 days of driving, right? Averaging 17 rides a day at $15 a ride. That should get you to $5,000 a month. Okay. Now, when you look at the Overdrive, okay, that Overdrive, again, that program here, that's when you now can actually earn money when others drive, like I talked about earlier. So I'm going to skim through this here. And it puts you in a position where now that override is huge because, when you look at the riders, that second one I talked about, the riders, everybody knows at least 10 people who are in rideshare or who have rideshare apps on their phones. Okay. So guess what? They don't have to take those other rideshare apps off their phone. They can just, put this rideshare app on there with it. It's just like people who have eBay have Amazon, and they have Amazon, they have everything else. And so, it's just another app on their phone. Okay. But again, I told you how special this app was to them and what type of benefits they can have. But in this example, you bring on 10 riders. Okay. Now, this is really cool because you override, okay, everything that they do for the rest of their life. But your riders say, you know what, if I get 5 customers, right, I get a free ride, and that's coming soon. So guess what? They're going to go get those 5 customers. They're going to go get those 5 referrals for you. So now you have 50 riders. Okay? And guess what? When that happens one more time, those 50 riders get 5 customers so they can get their free ride. Guess what? Now you have 250 riders. Now you have, keep in mind, I said you have, right? Because your customers can't get paid, on those rides. They can't get paid on those trips. And so you can, because again, those are customers that are referred to you and attached directly to you because of that app that you may never ever meet. But what I can show you is this example of what may happen, when you get to these numbers. That's 310 riders total when you do the math. $50 average per month is what they'll drive as far as usage. And then when you look at the incomes, oh my God, the income is amazing. That's $15,500 dollars in actual revenue generated at 3%, which is your override percentage. That's $465 a month. That's $5,580 a year. So think about this for a second. If you are a person who plans on driving, and I just showed you the dynamic on how to get to $5,000 a month, and then you go out there and while you're moving around, while you're shopping, while you're online, whatever it is, you go out there and you start building your customer base and you do this. Think about this for a second. Now you're at, 5,000 a month and 5,000 a year. So now you're just adding up your incomes. So here, this is the driver passive model. Okay. So when you look at you having 10 drivers, right, and the fares of those drivers equate to $50,000 per year. Times 10 drivers, that's $500,000 a year, right? Now, your percentage of that is 3%. That's your override. So now, because of what you're doing, that's $15,000. Because of what they did after you recruited them, that's $15,000 of income extra, right? That you didn't have anything to do with. You were not in the car with them when they drove. And again, you may never, ever meet any of their passengers. Okay? And so again, when you look at the differences, using the quadrants, when you look at the differences, again, you want to make sure that when you are a driver, you're working for yourself. You're basically a person who, when you clock in, you earn, and when you clock out, you don't. Okay, but the company will pay some of your startup fees and expenses because they keep most of the money, so they can afford to do that. Okay, your earnings are capped. And then at the same time, what happens is you have 25% to 30%. Of that money goes to the shareholders. So when you look at the Overdrive side and you look at doing it with Vibe, what happens is now you own your customer base, you own your book of business, you own your fleet, the people who you bring on, that's for life. And now you actually get a chance to get your tax benefits. So again, for every mile that you drive, you're getting 57 cents per mile on your taxes. And other things is this, ladies and gentlemen, you can do marketing that you get tax breaks on. There's a lot of different tax breaks that you can get and things that you're already doing, cell phone usage, all kind of different things that you can use to get tax benefits on and tax breaks on just because you move to the D3 side, the business side. Remember, you're the person who now is in control. So you can make as much money or as little money as possible, right? You can be a owner operator by driving, getting that 70 to 75%, and when you look at the company, this is the thing I want to touch base on with the company, the generosity. So right there it says 18% to the company. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 13% every time you go over 50 rides. So out of every dollar, the company is keeping only 13 to 18%, of that dollar. They're giving everything else back to the field. Okay. Go ask, all of these other rideshare corporations that are out there that have shareholders, right, and partners, ask them how much of that money that they're keeping. Okay. Again, they're keeping 25 to 30% of that. That's going, into their pockets, not yours. Okay. So how do you get started? Okay. When you look at, this project, it's $49.95, first of all, for the Overdrive packages, to get yourself registered, it's nothing. $49.95. Go to vibeoverdrive.com and register and get this thing off the ground. And then what you do is you pay the $200 for the Overdrive pack. Okay? Now the Overdrive pack is what allows you to do and get paid on all three. Okay? Now you see the $99.95 monthly subscription. Now that's overhead. Every business owner who runs a company, okay, remember they have overhead. Remember I told you earlier, the cool part about you being able to build your fleet and build your book of business of customers is that you don't have any liability. You don't have to do the research and development. You don't have the financial responsibility to open up your fleet and buying those vehicles that people are using. Your only responsibility as a business owner per month in this situation is one, getting your background check, getting your vehicle inspected, and making sure that your $99.95 is current. Okay. So that keeps you active. It keeps your apps up to date. It also puts you in a position where you get what we call 100 boomerangs. And those boomerangs are, the technology that we offer our customers and our drivers so they can enroll in our programs as a customer or a rider. Okay. And then you have the fleet management system. And you can't do this, ladies and gentlemen, for $99 on your own. It's a joke. So whatever you do, don't look at this versus, the rideshare company you already drive for, because last time I checked, you're not able to build a fleet and build a business in that company. Okay. So again, the cool part about this is this, that $99.95 can be cut in half. Okay. And all you have to have is 3 other Overdrive people who you personally sponsor come on board. And now instead of $99.95, you brought it down to $49.95. And the company doesn't have to do that, but this is just something that they're doing for you. Okay. And so it's time for you to choose your vibe and go to vibeoverdrive.com and get yourself started. Right. And what I want to do now is I want to turn it back over to the beautiful director of Vibe Rides, Miss Angela Oliveto. If you're there, Angela, it's all yours.
I am here. Thank you so much. That was awesome, Mr. Bean. Appreciate the insight and all of your experience. Thank you for being our special guest today. We appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you.
Just, sign off and let people know again. These calls are recorded. So if you're it's all week. It's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. CST. You're not going to miss a thing. But it's important that you get on these calls when you can. They're the best live. You're getting all that info now. But again, if you don't put it in your schedule, go to Facebook page. It's all recorded there. And also, if you know drivers or you're a driver yourself, because the opportunity, you don't have to drive. You can just do the Overdrive and earn from all your rides and all your drives. But if you're just a driver, that's cool too. We have trainings and updates on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. CST as well. So get your drivers on there, get them trained, get them updated, get them to register. We talk about everything regarding the app, the registration and the process, and we give you the tools and information that they need so you can run your fleet and make money. So again, get with the person that got you on this call, get started right away, and make sure you get on these calls and stay updated, and let's get you to the B quadrant. That's where you need to be. Okay, have a super duper day. Keep vibing, and let's do this. Talk to you or see you soon.